Hey folks, Phil Gallagher here for Daily D&T. We're playing with the Militia Bugler sort of endgame grinding D&T that we played yesterday. We have lost the die roll. Hey, this thing shows itself. Let's see how it goes. We have a super amazing vial curve, by the way. We may even end up doing something like put in a Giver of Runes this turn, put in a Giver of Runes next turn, tick it up to 2 so we can get to 3 more quickly. Oh, wait, no. Stop yielding to that. So my Caracas is probably going to get wastelanded. I kind of just want to use Charming Prince to scry towards either removal or a basic planes. So I think I'm just going to hard cast that this turn. Ooh, oh, geez. Wow. So the Stoneforge Mystic is worse than it looks because I am going to get wastelanded. But I think I'll be taking the Sanctum Prelate. Like, I have plenty of time and plenty of draw in hand. I just don't think I want this card right now. So that'll grow the Tarmogoyf to a 2/3. My opponent attacks in without playing another land. I could essentially trade my Giver of Runes for a Tarmogoyf. I'm unsure if that's something that I want to do at this stage. I probably do. But I legitimately would have to think about it. Having some multiple Giver of Runes here, plus the endgame that I'm showing currently, is going to be nuts. We're going to see the power of Vial here very, very strongly. Note that if my opponent does take this Vial out of play somehow, or otherwise invalidates it, I am in trouble. I am leaning very, very heavily on this Vial to win this game. Just something else that I haven't explicitly said. One of the deck building strengths of this list is if you take a look at like the average toughness of my creatures, it's relatively high, so Wrenn and 6 isn't messing with me too hard. I legitimately do not understand this lightning bolt. Think you attack in with the Tarmogoyf. If I block, you can bolt my face and end up in like pretty much the same spot. But if I don't block, then you get to take this with the lightning bolt instead. I wonder if my opponent has a slow connection or something. They seem to be taking a long time in between some of these decisions. If my opponent goes into combat with the Volcanic Island untapped, I won't block with the Tarmogoyf this turn, but I'll be willing to block in future turns. Remember, your life total is a resource. Second Delver here would be devastating. Okay, that thing having Trample is actually pretty bad for me. So game got very weird all of a sudden. Double threat there was devastating for me. I really don't like putting this on one here. I think I have to, because I'm just going to be so soft to like a lightning bolt on my face or equivalent. But this is going to stop me from ripping Swords to Plowshares, which is going to be one of my best draws at this point. We also needed that not to flip. Oh, thank you. Thank you for just attacking with that. So that means that that's the sort of behavior I can expect for the following turns. I would love to put the Mentor in first, but given the amount of pressure that I'm under, I think this needs to come in now. Tomic is almost exactly what I want. It's something that'll trade with the Delver. I can't play it this turn, though. So we're going to play the Wasteland and pass, and then we're going to Wasteland my opponent off of playing another green threat. You draw a white source so Tomic can trade with Delver. Can I wait a turn? Can I wait a turn to play this around days? No, I don't think I can. It sucks because it's not only does it play into days, it also plays into force. But if my opponent doesn't have it now, I am just giving them more opportunities to draw into it. I also have no guarantee that I'm going to draw land. I think I do need to take this. I also don't have very many flyers, which is an unfortunate thing in and of itself. Yep. All right. Do I have another Tomic? No, I don't have another Tomic. So I'm looking for Jailer to remove it, Charming Prince to gain life, or Stoneforge Mystic to gain life. I think I'm going to lose a little bit of tempo here to play that, and obviously I should have done that in the end step. If I Militia Bugler now and find Stoneforge Mystic, it lets me cast it in a reasonable time. We'll put the Mentor trigger on bottom and resolve our Bugler trigger first. Actually, is Stoneforge even good enough right now? No, Stoneforge isn't even good enough. So if I get Stoneforge, I get whacked to 3. I can put a Batterskull in play, I'll die. Charming Prince buys me another turn. So we'll take the Charming Prince. We will not draw a card. So you'll notice I'm not trying to make any cheeky attacks here. I'm going to win this game by a landslide, or I'm going to, like, die to the Delver. Like, once this Delver is off the table, I feel like we're real good to go. Being constrained on mana so we can't draw cards also has been pretty rough here. Yes, I will use Stoneforge Mystic's ability. We'll get the Batterskull. I don't think that's going to matter, though. I could tick this up to 4 for my 1 of Palace Jailer to become an out. It's a 1 in 42 chance. Do I have outs if I hit any of these 3 drops? Militia Bugler into a Charming Prince buys a turn. I'm at 2 life, so Ancient Tomb isn't going to be an out. I'll leave it at 3. And that was super frustrating. Like, with another land so we can draw some cards, I think we win this game easily. I also think we win this game easily if my opponent couldn't Mandrills and Delver in a single turn. But, you know, it is what it is. Alright. I like Path. I like another thing that trades with Delver. I like shutting off graveyards. I like shutting off graveyards. I like removal. I like Crusaders. I like Prelate, I think. So what's medium here? Revoker's pretty medium. It has Planeswalkers now that it can shut off, but like growing the Tarmogoyf by 2 is definitely a problem. And like if you use this to shut off an Oko, then the Wrenn and 6 can come down and just kill it. So recently I've been on the we need to cut Thalia versus Rug Delver plan, which sounds like utter blasphemy, but it's just kind of the way it works now. It's so bad versus Wrenn and 6 on every different front. Like Wrenn and 6, if it's down before Thalia, just goes and makes it so you can't play out Thalia. If it comes down after it, it just removes it, and then helps out with the mana denial problem as well. I would still need to make 5 more cuts here. It has to be some of the top end. I was constrained on mana that game. So maybe the Mentors. One of the Mentor or the Militia Buglers probably needs to get trimmed. Can probably safely trim a Charming Prince. Yeah, I can trim a second one of those in 1 Bugler. The Bugler is going to have fewer hits post board. So maybe I should go the other way with this. And keep more Mentors and fewer Buglers in. So I get 21 hits here. Because I've boarded in, like, Rip, Council's Judgment, Path to Exile is decreasing the number of hits that I have. The other thing I could do is trim 1 Vial to just get another creature in here and keep my count slightly higher. I don't think I'm going to do that when I'm on the play, but I might do that when I'm on the draw. I would like to play first. Amazing hand. I will probably port my opponent on turn 2 unless they play out like a Delver on turn 1. Just every turn that I can drag the game on so this file ticks up. It's just so much better for me. I'm just not super incentivized right now to just cast things into Daze and Force. That's an interesting draw. There's an argument for just jamming that here. Because just jamming that, if they Daze, ends up in like a similar mana denial position. But we might be just trying to cheat that one in. If I draw a land, I will probably wasteland that Volcanic Island. If I don't draw a land, I have to think about it first. And then wasteland the Volcanic Island. That's an awkward draw. Well, instead of stopping my upkeep, I'm going to wasteland their volcanic island. I'll put in Stoneforge Mystic end of turn. In my upkeep, in response to my Vial trigger, I'll put in Charming Prince to try to scry to a land. I hate playing like this versus Rogue Delver, where like I wasteland us down to few lands. Because as the game goes long and they just draw a Wrenn and 6, they get themselves out of it, and I don't get that same opportunity. Hopefully we just get them stuck on land. Nope. Kind of sucks if they have a bolt here. Totally fine with them having a stifle, though. So that was sloppy play from my opponent. They should have let me fetch first and then done this. Now, they don't know I have all the pieces of equipment in hand, but like in terms of sequencing, they definitely made an error. You don't want to let your opponent know you have the removal spell prior to when you have to. Yes, I will take both of those lands. Note, my pieces of equipment aren't actually very good here. I'm more excited that I have the land for Council's Judgment if my opponent sticks a Wrenn and 6 this turn. Oh, but Hooting Mandrills. So there's a lot of different ways to play this turn. I can just like equip to Charming Prince. I can just jam my sword. So just like trying to equip the Jitte gets got by a lightning bolt. My opponent used a bolt in a way that I thought was a little dubious earlier. I'd kind of rather play this Council's Judgment around days. I think removing this might be pretty important, or like leaving myself the opportunity to remove it later is very good as well. But just like playing this out when I already have this isn't the best. Anything that I play this turn can run into a Spell Pierce. That may or may not be true on following turns. I think I'm going to go for an equip here. If my opponent lightning bolts this down, that is not the end of the world for me. I definitely feel favored if they, like, trade my Charming Prince for their Hooting Mandrills. Yeah, that's fine. We have more 2 or 3 drops in this deck. About the same after post board, because I put in more Crusaders. I need to draw a creature. I don't care what it is, just like anything that I can staple Jitte and Sword to. I would like to not have to use the Council's Judgment on the Hooting Mandrills. If I brick on drawing a creature, I might need to. Especially if my opponent draws something like Tarmogoyf. Yeah, so now with the clock that my opponent represents of 7 damage, I do need to remove the Hooting Mandrills on my turn. Do a quick stifle check here. Note the Mandrills versions often are playing Stifle, based on Daryl Ayer's list from a while back. Alright. This I don't mind at all. So hopefully this resolves. Like, if this resolves and takes the Hooting Mandrills off the table, we might be able to just take over this game with Tomic. If it doesn't resolve, since we just have, like, 3 pieces of equipment clunking up our hand, I might not be able to turn this game around before my opponent kills us. Blind flip to ponder. So I expect a pre-combat ponder looking for a lightning bolt. Why would you do that pre-combat and let me know that you don't have any combat tricks? It's lazy. So I could trade Tomic for Delver. Or I could get Tomic equipped with Jitte. If I rip another creature that's the same converted mana cost as what I have my Vial on, then I can Vial that thing in, put my Jitte on it, and end up in a good position. So here's the tricky part. So I take 7 here and go to 9. The Tarmogoyfs represent 8 points of damage. If I don't block this, then my opponent is representing 11 points of damage. I can attack with the Tomic, take 8, go to 1, use my Jitte counters to kill the Delver. I'm going to take this damage. I do think it's a very close decision between whether or not I should or should not take this damage. I'm also going to tick this up to 3, because a lot of my highest upside plays involve me drawing Mirran Crusader. Nope. I also... So I'll die to a lightning bolt either way. I'll go ahead and make the attack take out the Delver now. There's some random one-ofs that my opponent might have that will ruin me. If they have them. So like if I leave the Tomic back and they just do something that will make it so that I can't block with that creature, then I'm dead. Alright, now I need something like a Swords to Plowshares. The Trample from the Hooting Mandrills is actually going to be the hardest thing to deal with here. So that's this one. Yes, I'll tick that up. I will not tick that one up. So I can block a Tarmogoyf and just die. Yep. Alright, we needed my opponent to not have a billion creatures there. Like, I needed them to have some of the clunk, like the Planeswalkers, in their hand. We drew triple pieces of equipment rather than more bodies. We needed to just, like, have one of these pieces of equipment in play, and then just have a couple more bodies so I could trade off with some of these creatures, but I did not get that opportunity. Alright, we'll try again tomorrow.